Okay. Hello. Looks like we're live. So welcoming you all who may be joining this conversation to our first conversation, doing these live streams as Mama's Movement. And we are so excited to have our first guest, Auntie Rainboweyes, joining us. She is a high-ranking woman, deputy leader of the Green Party of Canada, and we are thrilled to be getting to hear from her today and getting current about what's been going on in the Fairy Creek movement, and desiring to just blow some breath of life and awareness on this movement and see if we can make some sparks together today. My name is Asha Marie, and my co-host here, Paula, is with us. Reverence. And just to begin the conversation, I would love to hear from you, Rainboweyes, just where you are right now, just presencing into this space. Where you are physically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever you'd like to share on that.
Thank you so much, Asha, Gela Kesla, Reverence. It's so good to be here. Is it slowing down a little bit? Sorry.
A little bit there, it did.
Is it good?
But it's
Is
good
it?
now.
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, grateful to be here. Gela Kesla, Nugwa Rainboweyes. I'm a member of the Danakdao Awilala First Nation. Our traditional territory is Knight Inlet. This is on my mother's side. On my father's side, I have Scottish and British roots. So I've always felt my whole life that I'm like building bridges between two parts. And I found, especially since Fairy Creek, that that's what we're doing. We're building bridges. So I'm here on the Secwépemc First Nation by the Tecum First Nation. And we're in North Saanich. So this is where we found ourselves, me and my partner Glenn, for almost a year now. And we have not stopped since Fairy Creek. We keep going. I love to say once you get on the spirit path, it just accelerates. But maybe that's just because I found a partner that just has fire inside that just keeps going. So that may be that's it as well. I've just been recently connected to, I don't know if you guys, Saucy Minx.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to her yesterday, and it's so funny that we were talking about the dreams that we were having about wild women in the woods, just finding each other and making communities to live together outside, because everybody's like, what do we do next? What do we do like to keep that fire burning that we found at Fairy Creek? And it's this, what we're doing here, it's talking. And the biggest dream that we've all had, literally dreaming at night, is living in communities together as women and making it happen, buying the land. And I think we're doing it. Yeah, I'm working as deputy leader. That was for the past 6 months. Has been incredible, from the forest into the political system, which I never dreamed I would ever want to do, but it's been beautiful experience, learning how to bridge the Indigenous laws, natural laws, with the colonial laws. Because there's a lot of people who aren't up to it, but there's a lot of open-hearted people who want to do it, who want the bridges to happen. So that's exciting. And we've also started a society with Shauna and Glenn and others. And it's the Zunaqua Society, so it's the Wild Woman of the Woods. So Zunaqua is an important figure in the potlatch, and she's the Wild Woman. And there's a lot to learn about her, I think, but that's who we are. And it was so beautiful how everybody, the natural leaders of Fairy Creek were women. So, and this is your mama's movement. You know, it's all matriarchal, and that's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, that's kind of where we are right now.
Thank you. Yeah. Reverence, would you like to share where you're at and presence into, getting current with where you are?
Sure. Yes, hello everyone. I'm AKA Reverence from Fairy Creek, but Paulo Johansson is my legal name. I am here on Salt Spring Island, original Coast Salish territory of the Cowichan and Wasanic. And actually it's a very shared territory, so there's many names that are here as well that hold this space. Where I'm at, I'm a mama of two. And while I'm here, definitely holding in my heart the trees. I work on the piece of land that I work on, where I'm actually working with a group of individuals. We share this land, and a way that we try to take the land. And I work very deeply to listen to it and hear what it's calling towards me, and grow those deeper roots constantly with the land I'm on. Where and how I help the movement. You know, there's this moment here with Mama's movement that we've done some work with, and we keep rekindling and finding new ways that we can support the greater movement of the protection of Mama Earth and the trees. I help here and there in all these ways, you know, on the internet. For Elders for Ancient Trees is a group that works up at Fairy Creek, and I help them a lot with different posts and different things. And I help with Last Stand Media here and there. I would not say I'm the heart and the hearth, but you know, I'm a piece of the heart. I'm a piece of the heart, and I know I'm well loved, and I know I love them and work with them too. So
you've done so much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My hands come in and out, and I've worked in the different movements with at Fairy Creek and Save Old Growth, and different moments in time that I keep trying to extend my energy as much as I can outwardly to keep helping the movement thrive and move. I've had to also rekindle back into my family unit a bit more, just through financial and through my different children's individual needs that they actually have, as I be their mama and their root and their tap for their connection to their security. So there are those pieces too. So that's where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be on this call with you both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Paula. Yeah, so grateful to be having this space where we can hear you both and share our hearts. And like you're saying, Rainboweyes is that place of the wild women to gather and to be around that hearth fire feels so important. And yes, gathering as women is anchors just a beautiful space of magic. I see. So yeah, to share where I'm at, I'm currently living in Cowichan territory in Duncan, which is also known as the City of Totems, which I feel really, really blessed to be surrounded by a lot of incredible carvings and totem poles and Indigenous art, and living in a community we just moved to about a month and a half ago.
Wow.
Pardon?
I said, oh, wow, just a month ago, recent.
Yeah, just it's felt really true to be in this next chapter of our lives. I have a 4-year-old son, and I love, we're just an hour away from the Pachidot territory, Fairy Creek. So it's also a big reason why we wanted to be closer out there, so we could go visit those incredible ancient trees that are so dear to my heart. And to see my son and the way he totally opens and crawls on these roots that are the size of his body, and like just that connection for our family, and the way that it's so obvious they're holding this incredible, majestic power that's unlike any place I've ever been in the world. They're like, dinosaurs. They're like deep, ancient, rooted wisdom that are like the mother trees that Suzanne Simard speaks of. They're nursing all the other life in the ecosystem. They're holding this intelligence. And after feeling that deeply in my body, like I've such a full yes to supporting them living on, like the last 2%. So I feel this like outraged fire in my heart that we actually have to fight, that our government doesn't see, that they're valuable, like in a much greater way than profit. So what we're dealing with, it feels like, is profit over, truth of their value, and looking at just as greed in our culture, as a main part of this issue. And yeah, so there's many layers here to speak to. And I would love to just invite us all to just open the space for the next layers of the conversation with a bit of a meditation, to drop into our own roots, as we are the roots of the earth. We are the earth embodied. So yeah, let's just take a moment to ground and take some deep breaths. Just tuning in to that rhythm, life energy moving into the lungs and out, and perhaps dropping down, feeling the air moving into the belly, receiving the air into the low belly on your inhales. Just landing into the body, inviting softening. These sighs on the exhale. Giving thanks for this breath, for this body. Now imagining that we have these etheric golden roots that grow out from our perineum, our pelvic floor. So on your exhales, just inviting softening to that pelvic floor, allowing just an opening and a dropping down. Down through the floorboards you're sitting on, an incredible land that's holding you, us here. With an inhale of gratitude, exhale and anchor your roots down into the soil below you. And down through the rocks, mycelium, the soil, crystals. Just allowing that softening down, connecting into our great Mother Earth. And this helixing, spiraling of our roots down. And imagining now before you, witnessing the center of the earth, this incredible molten lava, golden, loving light of the core of our planet, the great Mama Gaia, Pachamama. Inhaling with gratitude and exhaling, inviting your roots to anchor in, connecting in to the heart of our earth, our great mother. As you inhale, feel this light, loving, nurturing golden light moving up into your roots. breathing her in. With every breath, a prayer to draw her in and connect. Moving up, feeling that connection through the crystals and mycelium and the soils of our loving earth home. Up through the root gate and up to meet our bodies. Deeply inhaling and allowing and cooling in the pelvic bowl. As we draw her in. And inviting us to do a sipping breath through the central channel of our energy system up to the heart. So it's like a straw in the mouth, just a few breaths like that. Perhaps squeezing a little bit on the perineum. Lift the energy of the earth up, up to the heart. And landing here in your heart, deeply rooted. And giving thanks for this conversation, this sacred space we're opening. It's inviting in the highest intelligence of this conversation to be with us. And inviting in any of our personal guides and our spiritually well ancestors that wish to join us in conversation today, to overlight this conversation, to be most of service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just inviting us to gently return back and open our eyes. Awesome. Yeah, so I would love to just open the space now to hear more from both of you, just where things are at. Starting with you, Rainboweyes, if you would share what's been most alive and bubbling in your world in regards to this movement and your role in it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was such a beautiful meditation as well. Thank you for growing our roots into Mother Earth and welcoming the ancestors and guides into the conversation. I love that. That's so beautiful. The biggest thing right now, most recently, as we're held by our ancestors and we're held by Mother Earth, I'll share what has happened over the weekend, right in our backyard. It's so beautiful that we can do this work together because what we are doing is hard. What we have to do is the hardest, and I think that's why the woman will lead it, because the women are the ones that are able to do so much. However, our brother Chiokten is incredible. They're cutting trees down. So a man close by bought a private lot on a path that is used regularly by the community. It's a very popular path. So he bought a full wooded forest, and he intends to, and he already has, he's cut the trees down. And he wants to build a house and a horse ring. So it's on ALR land. So we're learning, and that if it's ALR, agricultural land, you're able to cut down trees and like for farming or for horses. And it's something that you can get with like a $2,000 permit, and you can get ALR status. So the land that is fully forested, it's been cut before, but it's a beautiful forested area. It has already started to be cut. And Chiokten went on Saturday by himself. Well, we had another forest defender there as well, but he was there all on his own, facing the owner and industry, and they arrested him for trying to protect the trees on his traditional territory.
Mm.
So they arrested him. We got there right when he was getting into the cop car, and it's trying to educate a colonial system that is not made with heart. And what Chiokten does so beautiful all the time is he teaches, and he's so well versed in our natural laws and the knowledge of our elders. And so he was arrested, handcuffed, and he was driven down the street and released back on his res, where he stays.
Wow.
So a big community has gathered again, a lot of Fairy Creekers. It was so good to see friendly faces. And then the next day on Sunday, again, they came to cut down the trees. But the crazy thing is the owner said that no cutting would happen until Monday. So we know that he's lying. You know, he's just not being honest to anybody. We tried to have a circle. Chiokten organized a circle, and it was a big circle with at least 30 people. And he invited him to the circle to just have a talk, and he didn't show up. So then on Sunday, Chiokten and another defender locked together to a tree, and the RCMP that were there couldn't separate them. They couldn't get to them, so they started to get angry, and one of the RCMP officers started to knee Chiokten in the groin, like again and again and again and again, and they were really like choking them out as well, and like for standing up for these trees. And this is what happens to this is what happens to our forest defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they got away. It was nice to have all the people that heard about this that came out. So numbers are important, that we always come if you're able to, and support. So if you hear the word. Last night there was a city council meeting in Sydney, and so Chiokten. I'll also mention Grandma Losa has been around for all this, coming up to support as well. Grandma Losa was at the council meeting as well, and a bunch of other beautiful Fairy Creekers too. And Chiokten spoke in front of council, and I'm so sorry, I can never. Chiokten is on another level. His speaking is so beautiful. He knows so much from the elders, and he spoke of Indigenous law and natural law, and the importance of our Mother Earth and protecting our Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Grandma Losa spoke as well, and there was no time constraints for them. You know, there's usually in town councils, and always teaching that we don't have, you know, you don't always have to follow these strict rules. So that was, and yeah, Grandma Losa spoke about the importance of the Indigenous laws and Mother Earth, and like that times are changing and that this can't go on because the Indigenous people have faced cultural genocide for years and years and years, for generations. So it really, the energy after the council meeting was so beautiful and uplifting, and everybody felt so good because the councillors really had open hearts and they really wanted to talk about or try to build the bridge for the Indigenous laws and the natural laws. So yeah, and they're taking action as well. So they've moved motions to go to the next higher government in BC, and they'll change the agricultural land rights that to make it more difficult. So right then, because we were there and we sang the Woman's Warrior song as well, and right there they moved motions. Okay, what can we do? Let's do something now. Okay, they are gonna propose to change the land rights for ALR to make it harder for people, because it's not the first time it's happened. They've clear cut lots of properties all around this area. I mean, all over, people will come and clear cut the area. So yeah, making changes for sure. And that's what's happening literally right in our backyard, and it just came up.
Wow, I'm curious what government they're going to next. That's included in the agriculture.
Yeah.
Municipality,
The unions of municipalities of BC, possibly. And so it sounds like all of the communities will get together like once a year. It doesn't happen often, but then it happens in the springtime. So they have to prepare the report for the springtime, and then they'll make a decision on the changes in next fall. So it's a long process, but that's how the system works. But they've started it because of Chiokthin and everybody coming out to support.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I really appreciate the thoroughness of your share, and to hear those layers, and that there's action steps happening because of that, though, like that the system, and that it takes so long for something to change. I'm curious if there's a question that you might have, Paula, or comments on that.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful it's happening. I got to see a bit of the video from Grandma Losa's post when she was educating them on the cedar and giving them cedar. And I really appreciated hearing her voice. I didn't get to hear Chiokthin's voice. I know I've heard Chiokthin before, and I know exactly what you're saying. I sit in deep reverence to hearing both of them speak, but hearing Chiokthin as well just give us so much of the ancient wisdom that's coming through him. And what I really appreciate is them receiving the cedar, and them receiving the medicine from the cedar, and her explaining the cedar. You know, my questions that lie with this is just how long it takes. And that what I hear a lot of you saying is like, you know, this is creator time that we're walking into as we like readjust, and as the colonial system is learning how to step into Indigenous wisdom and natural law and backtrack into that, and how to take care of the land. You know, the questions that are coming up for me actually move away from that conversation, because that's going to take time. That sounds like it's going to take time. That's moving into a lot of time, and the energy has happened. There's a bit of a spark that came through to create some change within the system. And I don't know if I should move the conversation, but like what's triggered for me in this moment is what you are doing right now with the Green Party, because that's like another big wave of action that's happening, coming from, you know, you're anchoring into the Fairy Creek movement, you're anchoring in with different individuals, and also the spark of your energy and what's alive in your Rainbow Eyes, and how you carry the voice of spirit through you in your actions. and how here we have the Green Party also stepping in, just like what happened the other night this weekend, stepping in to possibly some change. So I don't know if I'm moving the conversation too fast or if there's conversations that should swirl still, but I see them very correlated, and wonder if you can understand your role in the Green Party right now, and what that means for you, and also how these changes are sort of weaving together, like as we learn to relearn into the new way of listening to the earth.
Yeah, I think it's where we need to go. We need to build bridges. Saucy Minx shared such a beautiful phrase with me last night when we had a conversation. And she said with Indigenous laws, natural laws, and colonial laws, there's a new term, and it's called braiding laws. So we need to braid the laws together. Yes, yes. And I feel like it's so true, because how I got into the Green Party, I never would have done it on my own.
Yeah.
I went because I followed Elder Bill and I met Amita Kuttner, and then I followed Grandma Losa, and then I met Amita Kuttner again, and me and Amita clicked. So I've been so grateful to work as deputy leader for the last 6 months. There's a new leader now. So we'll see what happens. And, you know, with the position, I'm still on the Green Party shadow cabinet. So we're still right in there, and we're still with the Indigenous Peoples Advisory Circle, IPAC. Green Party is the only party that has a circle of Indigenous people that come together and can give advice to the party. And that's where I think the change will come. I've so much faith in it. We have to get the people out. We have to get the people out to support. But the big thing is that we also heard recently is we were talking to a forest defender this weekend that came out to support Jiokden, and he talked about creating the next 7 generations, but an act. So the next 7 generations act. So, and put it into parliament and really talk about, make it a law, you know, make it an act. How are we going to work for the next 7 generations? And this is what we're doing. And it's hard because it's a colonial system, but the people that I've seen in the Green Party just are so open to these ideas, and the elders that are involved with IPAC are so beautiful. So it's definitely the way to go. Oh, and of course, Elder Bill Jones. As soon as Elder Bill Jones shook Amita's hand and he said, I am with you 100%. He knows the corruption of the other systems. He knows the corruption in the other parties. He's seen it. He's shared stories that if Elder Bill Jones backs the Green Party, then it's without a question, okay, that's where I need to be. And so yeah, that's what we're figuring it out, and really trying to grow a collective vision for the future, because there's so much disconnection, and that's what we found at Fairy Creek as well. You know, within any movement, any group, there's separation, and I think that's why we need to bring in the elders to help us move past these disagreements, and that's, I think, what IPAC will do, because it's the biggest thing. We're always going to have different ideas. Always we're going to have different ideas, and I think that's where the matriarchs come in as well. You know, just like understanding that there's going to be different ideas, but having the heart to work around it and figure it out is big. It's big. Yeah.
Absolutely. When you talk of it and you talk about the 7 generation law, my whole body gets excited. My whole body gets excited, and it reminds me of some of the wisdom that Chokton used to share up at Fairy Creek, just of the old ways that the hereditary governing system went in. I mean, his tribe specifically, and again, I don't want to speak for all tribes because I know all tribes separate in different ways and how they counsel, but just that there was, the council of taking care of each other is how you became a hereditary chief. Like that is how you became the leader of the tribe. And then you still had the matriarchs that you went to actually communicate if there was a problem in the village, that everyone would come together in these like different circle ways. And then plus on top of that, there would be a healer that would come in as well. So these steps of counsel before we even make a decision, and that counsel comes from these elderly. Like, so when you talk about this IPAC, like that, I get very excited to think of some of the old ways coming back in a way that we can listen to the wisdom of what it takes as an elder to come into that space and that time, to learn what it takes to be of a community and take care of the whole. And that whole is, the people, the children, but the birds, the bees, the insects, the trees, the air, the water, every little molecule like has an impact. Yeah. So to hear that, that's really exciting that those pieces are coming together and the Green Party's holding that kind of, like you said, the braiding coming together, and they're holding some of the first steps towards that pieces. And so you get to go into that talk. You still work with that group and still counsel with them and come in? Like, does that?
With IPAC, yes.
Yeah, you will still work with IPAC.
Yeah, they meet once a month, but I think there has to be someone. Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah. But it has to become a bigger force, definitely. It's there, it's nice, but it's got to start doing more. Just start having more connections with the rest of the party too.
And have you heard like Elizabeth May's like, because now she's the new party leader now, right? Like she just won, didn't she? Is that correct? And she's like, I guess she's really, I can't think of the word right now, but it's like she's actually 100% like, I don't know, focused and anchored in the fact that is going to be the new way that they're going to form their decisions through. So that's really exciting that she's come back into the picture as well, and she's going to anchor that and hold that vision.
Yeah, that feels really uplifting to hear those layers of what's happening on the levels of like kind of municipal governmental kind of ability to make change. I'm curious if there's any ways that that you could think of how we could like get involved with IPAC. Is there actions that could be taken? Is there resource links that we could share and like that I could post on here that people that are wanting to connect in and learn more, like how would they find that information?
Is she frozen? Oh, we lost her.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay, well, hopefully she comes back on soon. I'm seeing in the chat here, Elizabeth May is co-leader with Jonathan Pednialt.
Right.
Co-leadership, yeah, that is the way of change making, not just one
leader. And I think they're going to step into a bit of that, into the council as well. That's very exciting.
Yeah, and our apologies on the link. Wonderful, Rainboweyes is back. Yeah, that link, there's a YouTube link. The Facebook Live one didn't work properly. So this is our first attempt in this fashion. So our apologies for technical pieces that we're still learning.
Absolutely. I shared it to the Facebook page as well. I was sort of doing that when we first kind of came on and started talking, just trying to share that link in. So hopefully some of you have been able to get onto that link through the link that's been shared onto the Facebook page.
Great. Okay. It said Rainboweyes just joined us.
She's coming.
Not sure where she went.
Maybe it's her like.
Okay, well, we could take a moment to share a bit about ourselves and Mama's movement.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thread we'd like to be able to name to get to know us a bit better. So my name is Asha Marie. I'm based in Duncan, Cowichan territory in BC. I'm a mama of a 4-year-old boy. And yeah, a piece around what I've conjured in this kind of co-creation with my dear friend here was hearing the call to bring people together as a way of making movement for the great Mother Earth. So it was awesome and inspired by mothers in my life, calling it Mama's Movement. But the ultimate intention is to just raise awareness for especially this first movement that we're a part of, being for the ancient forest protection. So yeah, it's emerged that we've done a number of different media pieces and now are intending to do a number of live conversations with lots of the leaders in this movement. So yeah, that's a piece about me.
Yes, and me. I have joined this Mama's Movement as, again, a way as a mama to do what we can in different facets that come through us at different times that, you know, we've come together, you know, creating the different media pieces. I think it was funny. It all started with just like us sitting at the park one day talking about, like, not all of it, like Mama's Movement was another vision you had, Asha, and so it was fun, our pieces that like wove together. But just talking about how, like, I think like for this action for Fairy Creek back in the day, like this before March 2020, my gosh, you know, we're chatting about like, just I want to get kids and videos in their letters, and I want to send it to the politicians, and I want them to hear that the kids really want this, we want this. And it spiraled from there, meeting Elder Bill, and it spiraled into the first little mini film that was made that Ian McKenzie helped us with as well. Rainboweyes!
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, all good. Really happy that you're back with us.
Yeah. And we just started sharing a little bit about Mama's Movement at that point, because we're like, okay, well, let's reflect and share a little bit about ourselves until Rainboweyes has come back. So I'm wondering, should I just finish my little share there and then we'll step
Yes.
back in? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so Mama's Movement happened, and we went up to Fairy Creek and started trying to interview different people and gather different forms of media to help make waves out through media, because media can touch so far so fast. And that's where we met Rainboweyes. I think we met you the first couple of days you got there, actually.
You were such a big part of my beginning, both of you.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a big part. Yeah.
And it was such a blessing to meet you, and a blessing to meet everyone that was up there.
Yeah, we were so fresh, hey? Everybody.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this?
What is this? And, you know, I think part of what it was, and it still is something very beautiful, because how it spiraled into something bigger. And I think even what Mama's Movement is spiraling into, just like as in the change of the flow that's coming through these different situations that are happening. Because like, even when we went up and her and I have this vision of creating these different media, like what we saw that was happening at Fairy Creek was amazing. It was a community beginning to build itself, like different cultures coming together, different cultures even trying to learn, how do we lead together, and how do we allow more of the indigenous led, the different voices of the indigenous communities that are coming in. And then it even came deeper, like, how are we welcoming more eldership coming in, with matriarch coming in? Because at first it was, you know, Elder Bill's voice very strong, and then came Grandma Osa, and many other matriarchs came in too. But, you know, it's just like, it just kept weaving and growing in community up there, and growing in us learning through the hardships and the joys, right? Because it had both of those pieces. And I think for me, as Mama's Movement, a lot of what Mama's Movement became were different pieces. Like, of helping on the return to eldership weekends, you know, like that. A lot of the money that how I got up there at a certain point was actually through the donations from Mama's Movement. We used it towards that because we, you know, we had got editors for the different films that we did, but we were all working for free. And so any of the donations that came was actually to help the return to elderships and help those thrive. And I remember Asha deeply rooted into wanting those to happen, and me just beginning to support Elder Bill in deep ways of just helping, wanting to amplify his voice and the different Indigenous voices that were coming up at that time. So I know, because a part of what Mama's Movement is it's a protection of Mother Earth, but it's a protection of the Indigenous voice and the Indigenous knowledge that's been lost and amplifying that. I think that's a deep part of what Mama's Movement is about. And as much as, you know, it will grow into different causes at different times, always rooted with those core pieces and us understanding our own ancestry. I think that's been a part of how we actually explain ourselves. On Mama's Movement, if you go on, you know, we explain our own ancestry and us stepping and tapping into our own ancestral roots and our own Indigenous wisdoms that were lost through the system itself as well to this day, of those voices of our ancestors, generations to generations back, some so far back we can't even connect with them same ways, because those, unless we connect through calling them in through spirit right now, when we called them in before this call, of course, because they're always there and they're with us. And I think as we hear the Indigenous cultures of now, we can also hear those Indigenous cultures from our own selves as well in small ways. So I'm so grateful anytime I get to sit in ceremony and listening to the wisdom held through everyone that I've met up at Fairy Creek in the Indigenous community, speaking those ways and amplifying so they can even root deeper into me, to remember to me, to connect back in to my own roots as well. So that's my quick Mama's Movement pieces for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it through.
Yeah. But
I'd just love to add a bit of that piece around the roots. And we can't really tap into the Great Mother's energy or wisdom without the acknowledgement of that we're settlers here, you know, on stolen Indigenous land, and those pieces of actually being with what it is to be in that energy, the emotion of the grief, you know, and find our way through the right relationship, and doing the reconciliation work, and humbling enough to be able to learn to really listen. And I feel the Fairy Creek movement has opened my eyes as well to those pieces, like of just being a part of it and learning. Like it was like those trees were able to start teaching through all of us, and who was showing up, and Elder Bill, and then Grandma Rosa, and it's like all these parts of deep healing and being able to witness so much of which around the movement was not put into the mainstream media. Like they just completely depicted so much of like violence or trash, you know, actually not even really violence, you know, they're trying to hide their RCMP violence, mostly just like, completely missing all of this incredible ceremony that came out of it, and remembering eldership. And that's such a big heart of what I feel those trees are teaching us. They're the elder trees. And then to remember in Indigenous cultures, the centering and upholding of the elders, you know, that circle of life that we're all a part of. And there's so much to it. And I would love to hear more from you, Rainboweyes, and on what you have to share. And also, a bit around what you see as some next steps and ways that we could get involved. How could we be of service? And I'm curious as well, like as a as a way to braid the settlers and Indigenous, how might it be for us to show up in a good way to be of service to the movement? Because there's some pieces around the end of it that I feel I wasn't sure myself how to engage, and I would just love to hear from you around those pieces.
Yeah, there's lots of good things. Eartha, one of our matriarchs, is here. I see that she asked a question. I think she asked what your names are. So
that we went into that after you were gone for a bit. So that was...
did you? Okay, that's good. I just wanted to say that because Eartha's so great.
Awesome.
And one of the other matriarchs from Fairy Creek, Aurora. So you're talking about the healing that happens in the forest. I loved it. She had this saying that the forest created a soup. So when you're in a forest, like an old growth forest, you're literally breathing in a soup. Like it's thick and it's full of like such love and healing from the forest. So I always like to say that too, because when we go into the forest, old growth forest specifically, it's healing. It's literally healing. It's medicine for our body. Just even the air, that it's a different kind of air. It's a soup, and that's what Aurora said. We connected with Gramalosa with an elder from South America, and she did a ceremony for the mountains because she was saying that the mountains hold energy. And a lot of crazy stuff happened at Fairy Creek. People got upset and there was different ideas. And she was saying that these negative energies get trapped in the mountains. So she was doing ceremony to release the energy of all of the mountains all around Fairy Creek. Wow. So this is something that we can always do. We can always hold ceremony to release the negative energies that have happened. And this is, it's huge. It's a major part of it. She also said that we need to bring the trees into the center of everything we do once again, especially in the Western world, in where we live in these first worlds where we're so disconnected. But to bring the trees back into the center of everything we do. I had like we have like these beautiful connections to spirit. I had a vision one night right before bed. I was falling asleep and I was right before, and I had a vision of my body on the planet, and I could see everything that was going into my body: shampoo, coffee, lotions, toothpaste, everything that my body consumes, everything that I consume in a day, everything that touches my body, that goes into my body, it hurts the planet. Like everything. And it's just like you see it, it's like a stream, it's like the water flowing in. If you can picture everything that you touch in a day, everything that you consume, it affects the planet. And that's what Finch said too. Finch was the greatest teacher at Fairy Creek for materialism and the fact that we have to stop buying. It's just a fact. We were born in the time of where we have everything. And like my generation, like our generations, to walk away from it all. And that's the hardest thing. So I had this beautiful like epiphany just the other day too, there's so many people that don't know what to do, and they ask, what can we do? Well, we can become like the leading monks of walking away from materialism because we have everything. And it's just people feel helpless. What can we do? What can we do? The biggest thing that we can do is to become monks in what we buy. Stop buying. And it's so powerful. And it's huge. We have to stop consuming. And even for myself, I say it and I'm just like, oh, it's hard. It's so hard. And I think that groups just to teach each other what we do, because I know elders and matriarchs that they do crazy things, like things that I like. They save everything. They don't waste anything. Herb tea. They keep the stems. They water their plants with the vegetable stock and like stuff that we don't know, but this is the stuff that we have to start sharing, because the way that we're living right now is killing the planet, and it's just by buying. It's buying material things. It's factories. So it's interesting that like in the first world we have the most power to save Mother Earth, and so many of us have this, what's it called, ecocide. We are so worried about the environment that young people, youth, are committing suicide. And but we have the most power. We do. We just have to stop consuming, get together in community, do podcasts like this, make documentaries, make art, make music, touch each other's hearts, because literally love is the new currency, and it's a fact. It's a fact. Money is going away. It's going away. And what we found at Fairy Creek, what was so powerful about Fairy Creek, is the love that we had for each other, the community that we had, and that's the new currency. That's the new power. That's why it changed everybody like a lightning bolt, because we've never experienced it before. Yeah, that's what we can do. I think just keep coming together, keep bringing people together, and connecting. And when our attention is set that this is what we want to do, Creator will provide the people in your path, and you'll meet people, and it will happen 100%. We've seen it happen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, so Aurora's staying there. That's so great.
Oh, with Eartha?
Yeah. That's so wicked.
Just trying to make it so we can see all of us again. I'm not sure how to do it.
I love it.
Okay. Is it just showing one of us?
It's just showing Rainboweyes right now.
Showing Rainboweyes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm so grateful for you to share, the pieces that you shared, though, Rainboweyes, like those actions of understanding the consumption and the overconsumption, and how much power we have in this world. Because where do most of the products come that also come? It's from other worlds, like across the sea, and those lands like China, for instance, is a very dirty place. Like, I mean that in the physical body, like there's so much waste is what I mean by that when I say that. So these places where a lot of things are made from, especially cheap things that are breaking quickly as well, for us to understand the value of taking care of that which we have, to make it last, like the elderly's wood that you were saying about. And
yeah,
I really think it's really beautiful. It's like, when you said that, it just made me think of the value of want versus need. Like, what do we need? How slow do we become to like really assess what do we need? Because I think colonial has really, like, it really screams what, like it screams it so loud, and it's just like, how high can you get? How high can you stand, and how much can you have, and how much more do we need? It's like the value of those trees. Like, we keep even thinking like that we couldn't create an economy that's based off taking care of those trees and taking care of those old ones that are holding these baby trees, and creating the clean air and all that moisture we need, that wet. Like when you go to Fairy Creek, like I remember that was the one piece that I felt when I went up there, that beauty of stepping in that forest, as dry as it is on this land that I live on right here, in the summer, in August, and going up there and being like, it's so wet, I'm slipping still. like,
Mhm.
you know, in those old growth forests. And we don't see that, and we don't understand that, because we've lived like so much in our everyday, like a lot of people, I'm saying, like, just like those that are viewing in, you know, and that, you know, help from home or things like that. Like, if they didn't get up there to these old lands, ancient lands of forests that have not been touched before and cut down, they I was so ignorant. I had no idea how moist it could be in the summer. Like, it's so dry here where it just baffles me, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And to understand those pieces that you've given us as tools and anchors, as part of the ways that we can do as a culture, as our individual selves, is to understand that value, that less is and can be more.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it really sings so true. So I really thank you for those pieces, sharing that with us.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for that too, Reverence. That's so, yeah, so true. Less is more, for sure.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those pieces, Rainboweyes. Yeah, it's wild to see how much packaging there is. So I love that as just a takeaway. You know, how do we take just small steps in our own lives to, you know, instead of buying a bunch of beans, buy bulk and figure out a way to wash them, you know, and create that as maybe one action step, or buy bulk with a group of people, for example. That's such a huge one. There is an elder in the community I live in that was talking about a zero waste movement. We're going to start working on together. And the first thing that I feel is like it's a bit daunting, you know, like to take those steps. And also it's so important. And I really feel that, like, just adds up so much. And so, yeah, thank you for bringing that piece in. And I wonder about, yeah, in terms of like showing up for different movement, like for different, you know, yeah, you know, I actually just need a moment for this technical piece.
Yeah.
You're talking and holding technicals.
I am, and it's not quite working the way I want it to. But yeah, I'd love to. Okay, one more step that I have that I'd like to just anchor in is calling David Eby, the new NDP leader, and wondering if you could speak a bit on you know what we could speak to in conversation, like calling him. I have his number up here. It says an action step that we could begin to take for this naming of the trees. Is there anything either of you could speak to on that?
I know a couple people that have called him, and it's just good for anybody to call and give their opinion. I think this is how we come together. We can call. We missed the phone blitz. That was the other day that everybody could call him. So I guess yeah, I haven't called him, but I'm gonna call him. I called the forest minister. What was her name? Conroy, Catherine Conroy. So I called her earlier on. So I'm definitely gonna call MB as well. That's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, I've added the number there. People can call. Yeah, I think a way that we could speak to just sharing the heart and our passion for the trees, I've heard is a beautiful way, instead of kind of a way of, you know, yelling at them, but of a way of really speaking up for the trees and what we believe is important for the next generations.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we're taking these small steps of action in our own homes, you know, calling or writing emails, I think it really does make a difference, because they're becoming aware that more people care about these trees. And I know for myself, as a mother with a 4-year-old boy, I want him to know these trees. I want other people to know these trees. And I can't imagine a world where we look and we're like, there's none left. Like that thought completely devastates me. And you know, there's 2% left. We've logged pretty well all of it. And BC is like known as the forested area in Canada. So it's so much has already been logged. And they're the ones that are the elders of the forests. So like my heart just aches and longs for them to be held and supported and protected and really like honored. And so any steps, I feel that anyone that is hearing the call to take a little bit of an action, I think it's so valuable. It really does help. And yeah, we can make a difference. You know, there's so much logging that's happening with second and third growth at those elder trees really do need to be still standing for so much more than we realize, I think, and what they're holding for mycelial layers of the ecosystem, all of the animals, as well as giving information to the rest of the younger trees about how to survive and how to continue to be moist. And they're like fire repellent. They're is actually like really important for our own safety as humans, our own sustainability for humans. Not to mention they literally give us air. So, I mean, all of these pieces are so important for us as humans and our own sustainability. So, and so it's really dear in my heart. So please, any steps of action that are feeling calling to you or connecting with us as well, to collaborate, we are welcoming and continuing these conversations and these weavings, the braidings. Would either of you like to share? We're beginning to wrap up here, so no final remarks.
Rainboweyes, did you have anything you wanted to share there? Or what?
Yeah, we're just getting ready to go out. We're gonna go see Judy Wilson Rayborn. She's in Victoria tonight. So we're so excited. We're gonna go with Grandma. And I think that's what it is, like connecting, continuing to find people to connect to and learn from. I really believe in finding mentors. I recently connected with a mentor in Victoria, and she's really helped guide me. She's taught us meditation, and I think it's our connection to elders is what is missing to help make us strong. I mean, our elders are our foundation. So I think, I don't know, for myself, I'm so grateful when I get to connect and learn from someone who's so experienced in life that I can connect to. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna continue doing, because I know I have so much to learn. And but I feel more alive when I'm with friends, and it's not something I knew before Fairy Creek. And that's what's so frustrating, is the way that we were living at Fairy Creek. That was normal. That was normal, that connection. And the way that we live here, this is not normal. And that's just getting as many people as possible to see that. I think just waking people up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I love the pieces that you said. That's, I think, is it room for me to go now? Is that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. just want to make sure. Well, you're bringing me, like, I'm going back into that spot where you talked about the creator time, and the creator will bring things forth. You know, it's like if we call and make the call in our heart and not forget. I think I remember you so many times with Fairy Creek, and just the wisdom of that space of going to the forest and listening, and just really deeply taking the time to be quiet and listen. And then the forest can speak back to you. It can talk to us too. Nature will talk back to us. And not to forget the law of that, and the beauty of that, and resting in that moment, and resting in that if nothing comes, that's okay too, because it will come. But I think I just wanted to put that piece in when you were talking about finding mentors and these pieces. Like, we can actively go out and find, and we can actively also be empty and not know, and be okay in the not knowing, and feel the feelings that come up in the not knowing. And those feelings actually will help us get to the knowing. You know, like allowing ourselves to feel our feelings will get us to the knowing. And so I think two of the things that I want to move that in towards is like the building of community, and the building of the changing of community. And there's so many ways of growing new community, sharing food together, sharing communal food, getting less is more from the grocery stores, and buying bulk and sharing with each other, growing if we can, and finding those places where we can grow and share our food together, of course. But also remembering the actions that are happening online, and if you can make time for these actions, like going to RBC Bank or helping Wet'suwet'en, finding those places to be able to go to those spaces, if you can create some time. I think also you can find community that want to create some of the change too that wants to happen as well. And remembering to go to those things with an open heart. And if you have anger, that I think there's a lot of anger moving through us right now, because the devastation is so big, and Code Red Emergency is so strong. And we all understand that we're being pushed to the call, I think, in a way, all of different actions that we can take. You know, the actions that are safe and quiet, and the actions that can be loud, if people can feel those actions and want to move into those actions too. But also to find a space where we're moving our anger in a healthy way, that we're not hurting others, and taking care of each other, I think. And remembering the voices on the other side, and the differences of opinions that might sit there, and how we can communicate in a way that we're maybe not harming and shaming others, but speaking truth. I think are really important ways that we can tap in as well at this time. And one thing I want to say, talking about elders, is the Elders for Ancient Trees, and they have been working really hard, and working with First Nations, and working with different groups, and they're trying to create the declaration right now, and it's called the United We Stand Declaration. And they are, you know, a big action is coming up soon, and a big action where they're asking communities from all over BC to come together, so we can create a big parade, you know, a big march downtown, coming together. And that, I think that's something from this call that we are seeing from this time, where Fairy Creek has broken not to be up there as strong, because, you know, we had to move from being up there. It's hard to be up there. What's happening with the RCMP, how they're acting, how they're hurting people. You know, how the people that can weave the time up there actually have so much arrest on their shoulders that it's difficult for them to walk, you know, in the same freedom that we have, even though we are still free. But to remember that the groups are weaving together right now. I think that's something that I'm seeing a lot of, is how all the different groups, and when we're starting to weave together, we will become that much stronger, and remembering to come together in the greater community. And so that's one of those actions that I know are happening in smaller ways that I can't even see and comprehend, but I know that's something that elders are trying to weave together too on a greater field as well. So with the declaration, I guess one thing that you can email, and I'll put it on after this call under the link, but I can put their email. If people wanted to get involved, they can actually email the elders, Old Folks for, where is it? Old Folks for Old Growth at gmail.com. And you can get involved, and you can create some change that way too, and start getting together with people. I think it's going to be a joyous day that day, where large people come together. First Nations and allies come together in pageantry, because there's something beautiful about pageantry. As much as we can hold strong forces and places where we're not letting industry move through, there's something beautiful where other people's, their eyes open when they see the love that's shining from us, when people are singing the different songs and coming together. So yeah, save the date, February 25th. And you can also email oldfolksforoldgrowth@gmail.com and get involved in those ways too.
You're so awesome, Paula. Yeah, that's such a big plan right now. We were part of that call in the summer, so they've been planning this for a long time. And there's nobody like the Elders for Ancient Trees. When they came out to Fairy Creek, it was the best to have the support of the elders and to have them school the RCMP. You know, there's nothing better than it. So much respect for them, and it's needed. Like we need to join up with the Elders for Ancient Trees, and because we have to do this together. And what they're doing, Jackie in particular, just like fire, just like people that know and have experience in the fire to do this work. If you're a matriarch and you have that, it's just so incredible. And that's where we want to be. That's where I like to follow. So thank you for bringing that up, Paula, because we want to be there, and we're helping with that movement as well. And we want thousands of people there. Hopefully it will be huge, huge, huge. It will be. Yeah. Big.
Yeah, amazing. Can you say again where it is?
It's going to be in Victoria. The march is going to be downtown, and it's going to be at the Legislature in Victoria. Yeah, that's
February 20 or the
February 25th.
February 25th.
We actually have a post about it on Mama's Movement page as well.
Yeah.
You can also, get hooked onto the Elders for Ancient Trees page as well. A lot of their actions come up on that. And this action will also, I'll link into Mama's Movement too and post lots about it so people can look out on, Facebook, Instagram, all those little places and little things will be popping up. They're actually having a flash mob coming up. That's going to be a really fun piece that they're doing soon too as well. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yay. Yeah, I feel uplifted and so grateful for this conversation. Thank you both so much. I wonder, Rainboweyes, are you open to just lifting a prayer with us as in this space of creative conjuring that we've just cultivated and basking in? Would you be willing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Asha. I had experience when I was with my new mentor, and we stayed at her house for a couple nights, and she asked me to do a prayer in the beginning of every meal. She would ask, "Can you do a prayer?" And I would just be so happy to. So I got some practice with her. So I'd like to sit with gratitude in the space that we've created. It's outside of this space, so it's a new space we've created, and it's a space. And I hope that when we leave this space, we will take our positive intentions and this beautiful feeling that we've created together, and we'll touch other people, and that we'll begin recognizing each other as brothers and sisters that we can work with. And the speed at which we'll work together will be accelerated at this point because it's needed. And I just want to say thank you to the ancestors for holding our space with us right now, our guides. And I hope that in this acceleration of us finding each other here, that the acceleration of our connection to the ancestors and our guides will be deepened. And we are truly entering into new times. We're truly entering into new times for Mother Earth, where we will feel the connection to her and we will know what to do instinctually. These are the times that we are creating right now as women, especially. And I have so much gratitude for the circle that you've created. So I just want to say, Gela Kessa, Kleko, Kleko, Haitka CM.
Mm.
Merci.
Mm. Mm.
I have so much faith that we are evolving and we're going to do it together. We get to do it together.
Mhm.
Mm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rainboweyes.
Yeah. And thank you all the listeners for tuning in with us. Really grateful for your eyes in this conversation. It continues the ripple.
Mhm.
And yeah, please get in touch with us with any questions or comments or co-creations.
Can I put just a little thing that Eartha had said? Because Eartha's been in this conversation, and Fireweed too has been with us all night. But she said, as something we can do, and I would like to voice it on the call because not everyone's reading the thing, the little messages. It says, I think we also need to pressure individual logging companies, i.e., is trying, we trying to log, i.e., working on the land that they live on Cortez Island, for instance, and so they can feel the heat, like going to your places where you are and also talking to those companies, and help guide them with your heart and your voice. So thank you, Eartha, for bringing that in and saying that right now. Just want to make sure I say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have fun tonight, Rainboweyes.
Mm.
Shoot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be fun meeting Judy. She's actually a relative of my grandmother's. So she is actually family.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you both so much. This was such a beautiful experience. This was good. Yeah, I look forward to doing many more together.
Yeah.
And gatherings, all sorts of gatherings.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Keep
Super
chatting.
rich. Okay. Yeah. Well, the last thing to share is we have another intention of opening up a space for integration, heart shares, and kind of more ability to grieve and talk deeper layers of heart together. Not in a live conversation, but anchoring into a once a month really integration space. That will be sending out an event for that as well. So watch for that to come on Mama's Movement as well.
Yeah.
As a way to keep building relationship together.
And moving through feelings, have circle together, like circle up, even if sometimes these people that we're going to need to circle with, are far away, we can circle up through the internet in these spaces and have those private calls together and work together, work on healing and growing and rebuilding, building that love that needs for our actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, thank you. All right. Well, close for now.
Okay, blessings.
Thanks.
Have a good night, woman.
Kayla Kessler.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.